Welcome to episode number 34 of Hoop Talk Fanatics. I am here with IlliniGuys.com's Brad Story, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say about tonight's very fun Texas-Illinois matchup at world's famous arena, Madison Square Garden. So welcome on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was a really fun game, great atmosphere, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, as they call it. So it was a really good time, a great game, two really high level teams, really got after it, played hard, and Illinois just made a few more plays at the end.
So my first question is, what were your thoughts on the game as a whole?
Yeah, I think both teams really good. They're very good defensively, and so they took teams out of the other team, opposition out of what they wanted to do, what they want to run. And so what that does, it really makes it breaks things down, and then the offenses don't look as fluid. But they had enough athleticism. They were able to make enough plays, to get points. It was 85-78. So even though the offenses didn't look fluid, they still scored points. But these are two really high level defenses. And so I think those are things that those two teams are why they're going to be good all years, because they can both really guard.
What were your thoughts on Matthew Mayer's performance? He had 21 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist.
Yeah, Meyer had been struggling shooting, and boy, he came out, hit 5 out of 5 from 3. I thought he was fantastic, early on, and got one of those zones where, it's hard to miss. And so I thought he was really impressive. He was big for Illinois in the first half as they couldn't get anything going offensively. Terrence Shannon didn't score in the first half, their leading scorer. RJ Melendez didn't score in the first half. So this is the kind of that's kind of performance Illinois needed from him.
What were your thoughts on the defensive efforts?
Yeah, I thought both teams, really get after it defensively. I thought for Illinois, I thought Sincere Harris came off the bench. I thought he was fantastic, bringing that energy, the defensive intensity, in his limited minutes. And so when he comes in, he really just makes things happen. He ended up playing. At the end of the night, he plays 18 minutes, only 2 of 4 from the floor and 1 of 4 from the line. But man, he just makes plays. He blocked a couple shots. He had an assist. He's just active, and he really changes the game with his defense. Texas is so sound defensively. They did a really good job of getting their hands. They forced Illinois into a bunch of turnovers early. I think they had 17 turnovers with 11 minutes to go in the game. Then after that, Illinois didn't turn it over again. So that's how Illinois was able to adjust. But Texas is very good at getting their hands on the ball, and I think that's why they have such a great defense.
What do you think about Terrence Shannon coming from Texas Tech and making a big impact offensively for Texas? For Illinois.
Yeah, Terrence has been the leading scorer for Illinois this year. Obviously, he played for Chris Beard at Texas Tech, so that is that he's got that relationship. I talked to him after the game about that, and how they still communicate. And he's got bragging rights now, though, because they were able to win that one. But he is Shannon. I think he's the kind of guy. He's more in a prominent role now. He was more of a role player when he was at Texas Tech. Now he's kind of the guy for Illinois. He's averaging 19.8 points coming into this game. He ends up having a rough game in regulation and then scoring 12 points in overtime. But that's the kind of guy he is. When he gets it going, it's really hard to slow him down.
So what are your thoughts on Illinois' next 4 games on their schedule?
Well, I think they start with Penn State on Saturday, Big Ten game. That's very important for them to win, because they're already 0-1 in the Big Ten, lost at Maryland. Obviously not a bad loss, but a loss nonetheless. You got to take care of your home games in the Big Ten if you want to be successful. And then they've got I think it's Alabama A&M on a Saturday, and then of course the bragging rights game with Missouri. And I think that's a game that although Missouri has a really nice record, hasn't really played a tough schedule yet. So that'll be a tough game though, because it's always a tough game because of it's that rivalry. It's in St. Louis, and Illinois fans are going to travel really well this year, so it's going to be a more orange stadium than usual. But I think that they should be favored in these next 4 games heading into the January portion of the Big Ten season. And they've got a Bethune-Cookman, I think, December 29th. So they're looking at an opportunity to get through to the new year at 11-2. And I think they'd feel really good about where they're at if they can do that.
I got 2 more questions. What are your thoughts on the schedule for the start of the new year?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
What are your thoughts on the teams they have starting next year?
Oh, in January? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you get into Big Ten play. Illinois has a great stretch here. You look at they're going to be favored. And I think it's after this game, if they win tonight, I think they're going to be favored in their next 13 games is what it looks like. So they have a great stretch here, an opportunity to be, to be successful and to get a run going, to get up to a 15-2, 18-2, something like that. And if they can do that, then obviously that really bodes well for their chances to not only win the Big Ten but get a high seed in the NCAA tournament. And then and that's really what Brad Underwood needs, is that NCAA run, and that kind of the next 6 weeks or so are going to be key.
And my last question is, what are your thoughts on the other teams in the conference?
Well, I think the Big Ten's really much better than people anticipated. I think Indiana's obviously good. They've got a nice. Maryland has been a huge surprise, and I think Purdue has been the team. I mean, they've been really good. They have Edie, who no one can really match up with. They have their freshman guards have been fantastic. Really stepping into a big role. So I think they've been really impressive. I think Michigan and Michigan State have had their ups and downs, but they've had some quality wins and played really good schedule. Wisconsin is Wisconsin. They just go battle, and they beat Maryland. Here they have a win over Maryland. So that's what the Badgers do. They just find a way to win enough games. And you're wondering, like, I didn't think they were that good, and then they just win games. So I think it's a very deep conference. Nebraska already has a win over Creighton, which was kind of a shocker, but it just goes to show you that these teams can beat anybody. Northwestern already winning at Michigan State to open conference play was kind of a shocker. So these are I think the Big Ten's very deep, got a lot of teams. Maybe they don't have that upper echelon top, unless it's maybe Illinois, Purdue, that could win it all. But or Indiana, one of those three probably. But I think they've got a lot of NCAA tournament teams, a lot of teams that can beat you on a given night. And Iowa, I didn't even mention Iowa, who's playing Duke tonight, and Iowa's got Chris Murray's just fantastic, as a player, individual player. So yeah, there's a lot of teams and that are good enough to beat you on a given night.
I just wanted to add one more question. What is your prediction for the record of the month of January for Illinois?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I like them to win. I think they will lose one game. I think there is a game in there that they're gonna lose. I think that it's hard to put together that many wins in January. So I like them to win. I like Wisconsin, Nebraska, Michigan State, Minnesota. I think they go through those games, Indiana, but I think they find a way. Maybe it's at Wisconsin. Maybe they stumble, but I think that probably let's see, probably like 8-1 is my prediction for January for them.
Sounds solid.
Yeah, you'll take that, right? You'll take 8-1,
right? Thank you so much for taking the time coming on and talking Illinois basketball, and hope to have you on back soon.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.